brought to you by WikiVidi.com. The Commitments film. The Commitments is a 1991 Irish-British-American musical comedy-drama film based on the 1987 novel of the same name by Roddy Doyle. The film was directed by Alan Parker, and written by Doyle, Dick Clement and La Frenais. Set in the Dublin Northside, the story follows Jimmy Rabbitte, a young music fanatic who assembles a group of working-class youths to form a soul band named The Commitments. Producers Lynda, Myles and Roger Randall-Cutler acquired the film rights to the novel in 1988, and commissioned Doyle, a first-time screenwriter, to write an adaptation. Doyle spent 1 year working on the script before Myles brought in veteran screenwriters Clement and La Frenais to help complete it. Upon reading the novel, Parker signed on as the film's director in 1989. The Commitments was the first film to be produced by Beacon Communications, which provided an estimated budget of $15 million. The film's young lead actors were mostly inexperienced, and were cast due to their musical backgrounds and resemblance to the characters in the novel. Principal photography commenced in Dublin, Ireland from late August 1990 to October of that year. Upon release, The Commitments grossed $14.9 million during its North American theatrical run. Reviewers praised the music, performances and humor, while criticism was aimed at the pacing and direction. The film received an Academy Award nomination for Best Film Editing, and won 4 BAFTA Awards for Best Film, Best Direction, Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Editing. While only a modest success with North American audiences, The Commitments has since been regarded as a cult film and one of the best Irish films ever made. It is the first in a series of films known as the Barrytown Trilogy, followed by The Snapper and The Van. Plot. In the north side of Dublin, Ireland, Jimmy Rabbitte is a young music fanatic who aspires to manage an Irish soul band in the tradition of 1960s African-American recording artists. He places an advert in the local newspaper and holds auditions in his parents' home. After being deluged by scores of disastrous performers, Jimmy decides to put together a band consisting of friends and people he encounters: lead singer Deco Cuff, guitarist Outspan Foster, pianist Stephen Clifford, saxophonist Dean Fay, bassist Derek Scully, drummer Billy Mooney, and female backup singers Bernie McLaughlin, Natalie Murphy, and Imelda Quirk. Jimmy then meets Joey "The Lips" Fagan, a veteran musician who offers his services, and has unlikely stories about meeting and working with famous musicians. Joey names the band The Commitments after purchasing a drum set and acquiring a piano from Joey's mother. Jimmy secures the remainder of the band's musical equipment from Duffy, a black market dealer. The band rehearses on the second floor above a snooker hall, and after much practice, they convince a local church community center to give them a gig, under the pretense of it being an anti-heroin campaign. Jimmy then hires Micah Wallace, a hot-tempered bouncer, to act as the band's security. The band draws a good crowd, but after Deco inadvertently hits Derek with his microphone stand, the amplifiers explode, resulting in a power outage. Tensions run high among the band members as Joey begins seducing Imelda, Natalie and Bernie, and Deco grows increasingly obnoxious and unruly. The band performs at another venue where, at the end of one song, Billy accidentally knocks over his hi-hat cymbals, leading to a heated argument between him and Deco. Billy leaves the band in fear of going to jail if he beats up Deco, much to Jimmy's frustration, and Micah replaces him as the band's drummer. During the band's next performance at a roller disco, Jimmy is confronted by Duffy, who demands payment for the equipment he provided the band. Micah intervenes and violently attacks Duffy, who is escorted out. Jimmy then goes on stage and introduces the band, which elicits boisterous cheers from the audience. After the band secures another gig, Joey promises Jimmy that he can get his friend Wilson Pickett to sing alongside them. On this promise, Jimmy convinces several journalists to attend the band's next performance. At the venue, the band draws a large crowd, but its members begin arguing with each other off stage, and become doubtful. When it appears that Pickett will not show, they go back on stage where Deco denounces Jimmy for misleading the audience about Pickett's appearance. The band's performance of one of Pickett's songs, In the Midnight Hour, silences the crowd's protests. After the performance, the fighting continues. During a heated argument, Micah beats up Deco outside the club, and Jimmy storms off in frustration, claiming that the band is finished. Joey follows Jimmy, who berates him for misleading the band about Pickett. Just as Joey leaves, Pickett's limousine pulls up next to Jimmy, and his driver asks for directions to the club. In a closing monologue, Jimmy explains that the band's members have since gone their separate ways, with many of them continuing to pursue musical careers, and implies that he and Natalie are in a relationship. Development. Following the 1988 publication of Roddy Doyle's novel The Commitments in the United Kingdom, producers Lynda, Myles and Roger Randall-Cutler acquired the film rights, and asked Doyle to write a film adaptation. Doyle, an inexperienced screenwriter, spent 1 year drafting the script, accompanied by Myles and Randall-Cutler. Although a script was completed, Myles felt it needed improvement, and passed the book on to Dick Clement and La Frenais, hoping that they would suggest a more experienced writer. However, upon reading the novel, Clement and La Frenais agreed to help write the script themselves. In 1989, Myles took the project to Beacon Communications, an independent film company established that year by Tom Rosenberg, a former real estate developer, and Amy Ann Bernstein, a former television journalist turned screenwriter and producer. Clement and La Frenais traveled to Los Angeles to discuss the project with Alan Parker, and gave him a copy of the novel. Upon reading the novel, Parker was intrigued by its dialogue and humor, stating, "The book was all dialogue with very little description, but by the use of this wonderful language, and almost nothing but language." In a few lines, Doyle was able to make his characters as vivid and strong as a dozen pages of purple Joycean prose. He signed on to direct the project after concluding work on his previous film Come See the Paradise. After Beacon agreed to finance the film, 20th Century Fox acquired the North American distribution rights, and Parker was given creative control. The film was an international co-production between companies in the United Kingdom and the United States. Randall-Cutler's The First Film Company and Parker's Dirty Hands Productions, both based in England, were enlisted as production companies. Parker and the producers later attended the 1990 Cannes Film Festival to secure worldwide pre-sales. Thank you for watching. Brought to you by WikiVidi.com. Please like and subscribe below. Please like and subscribe below.